Hey guys, you're here for some Slay the Spire 2 tips and tricks. This game is a roguelite with permanent unlocks as you progress. It's fun as a solo or multiplayer experience. If you want to unlock all of the characters quickly, you can start a single player run, then immediately hit the gear on the top right, and give up the run once with each character to unlock the next one. Something that's interesting about this game is its ability to go infinite, or that is to create a combo that will keep going until the enemy is dead, which is a feature and not a bug, and typically hard to pull off due to the low deck size and cards required through RNG. So I did some testing. It is possible to go infinite on any character, but you will still have to watch out for bosses that can only be damaged so much in one turn, or the elite that lowers your damage for each card played. The easiest method would be having 10 or less cards in the deck with nothing in the draw pile, and use Finesse and then Flash of Steel over and over. They would keep drawing each other since that's the only card in the discard pile, and doing 5 damage every time you played Flash of Steel. 2 colorless cards, and everyone can go infinite. Easiest to get by going to shops and removing cards and buying colorless cards. You would need to have a card that exhausts your deck down to around 10 cards, or even less if you can't get a full hand. Stoke, Fiendfire, and Eidolon can exhaust your whole hand to make this quicker. A few Burning Pact work great. There are a lot of variations to this strategy. The essence is you use an attack, preferably at 0 cost, and to draw cards that would be able to generate enough energy to be used. So 0 cost, draw 2 cards would be optimal. This is possible if you enchanted something like Master of Strategy with Soul's Power so that it does not exhaust when played, then using Finesse or Flash of Steel to draw 1 card at 0 cost. The order of play would be Finesse, 0 cost damage card like Omnislice, then play your draw 2+ card like Master of Strategy, then play Finesse, Omnislice, Master of Strategy, and repeat. As long as your deck has few cards, your discard pile has no cards, and you have 2 draw cards and a damage card, you can play cards infinitely until the enemy dies. This would take some setup, and you would need block cards to survive long enough to get this setup, or a lot of energy and draw power to manipulate your deck. For Necrobinder, you can use Severance and Borrowed Time Plus to make an infinite loop of draw energy and damage. You could use 2 0-cost draw cards together with powers, like Panache, that does damage every time you play 5 cards. Drawing draw cards would then do damage every 5 draws, or have the Letter Opener Relic so every 3 skills you play does 5 damage, and it gives the same outcome as Panache. So with one of those options, you play any 2 draw cards where the cost evens out, like using Glow and Big Bang with the Soul's Power enchantment combo. That would work for the Regent. Which those 2 cards also work with the Black Hole power for dealing damage instead of the relics. Panache, Letter Opener, Strangle, or Speedster would also work on the Silent, if you had the Silent card Escape Plan and Finesse. An example of infinite on Defect would be Letter Opener Relic, 2 Overclock, and 1 Compact. Use Overclock to draw burns, then Compact to create fuel from it, then use Fuel and Overclock to get Compact back. This creates an infinite loop where Letter Opener is doing all the damage. 2 Spite could also work on Ironclad instead of Finesse or Flash of Steel. This would need a self-damage card like Bloodletting with Burning Pact to exhaust some extra cards. You can use the card Offering with Soul's Power enchantment for energy and draw cards, with the Beating Remnant Relic to prevent you from losing any extra HP after 20, and that would just allow you to use any number of energy costing cards and still go infinite, like using Pommel Strike that takes 1 energy, damages, and draws 1, and then bouncing that with Offering. Another silent infinite would be Ironclad Relic and Up My Sleeve, but it would require a small deck because you have to generate the 3 cards. Some other tips I would mention: it looks like you can only put 1 enchantment on a card, so don't enchant a card that you later wish you could have put something different. Like I put Draw Enchant on my power, but I could have added Innate or Clone later in the run, I just didn't know. I would put Momentum on Bombardment, because that plays every turn from the exhaust pile when exhausted. It will gain 5 damage each turn, and play automatically every turn for the maximum benefit, gaining 5 damage on top of the previous damage last turn. Or something like Rampage works well. The replay enchantment is stupid strong, like Glam, and Hidden Gem is a colorless card that gives it to cards in your draw pile. Double or triple its use at the same cost. Soul's Power removes exhaust, so I put on energy or draw cards like Big Bang or Adrenaline, Apparition for intangible, cards like Genetic Algorithm or the Scythe that permanently increase the card's stats per use, or Whistle where it stuns the enemy. Sharp and Nimble works best on cards that play multiple times or hit multiple enemies. So Mummified Hand makes the Regent's stars and energy cost on cards to 0. So use lots of powers when holding high cost star cards. This will also choose star cards that cost 0 energy and only cost stars as a target, turning them into just a 0 star cost. So it'd be probably better to play those first, so Mummified Hand would target more expensive cards. Mummified Hand can also make other power cards free, so play your 1 or 0 cost powers first. Also, Bullet Time makes star energy cost 0 if you can get cards from both decks, like through the modifiers. Having multiple Regents in the same battle will count stars generated for the damage of Radiate from every player. So that deals 3 damage to all enemies for each star gained this turn. With 4 Regents in multiplayer, this is broken because it's counting everyone's generated stars for that turn for everyone's damage each time the card is played. If everyone plays Radiate, that's a lot of damage. Royally Approved Enchantment gives Innate and Retain, and it'd be good for powers like Demon Form or Void Form, where you want to get it early, but maybe the first turn you need to block instead. If you put a Drawing Enchantment Swift on a power card when you have Mummified Hand, one of the cards you draw can become the 0 cost card. When you gain Vigor, you want to use it on X cost cards, cards that hit multiple times or that hit multiple enemies. Final Gambit plus Barricade plus Body Slam just dominates the bosses. And you can add a triple block potion, Unmovable so your first block per turn is doubled, the Relic that doubles your first block of a combat, Vambrace, the Ancient Relic, Pale's Legion, and then the colorless card Prolong to gain the same block that you have now next turn. And then Panic Button also works somewhat, but then there's a cooldown period. Lethality increases the first attack per turn by 50 or 75%. But you can stack that using 2 or more will combine the bonus for the first attack. So 2 lethality plus would give you 150% increased damage for the first attack. So this is useful if you want to do 1 attack and 2 blocks per turn. Add big cards like Barry to your deck with 2 or 3 lethality for 200 damage a hit. Ironclad's upgraded armaments is really strong. Or you can get 2 regular armaments in the same turn, use the first one on the second one, and then use the second one to upgrade your entire hand. Ironclad's Shrug It Off is such a good card. I always pick that up. Don't take more than 2 Battle Trance, or you'll end up wasting a lot of draw power because you will draw cards that also draw, but you lose the benefit of it. When taking the wax relics that melt away, you should pick the ones that have the instant effects first and the ones that you want to keep longer last. So I picked up a wax relic that instantly upgraded 2 attacks. Picked that one first, and when that melted I lost nothing and I could keep the more meaningful relics longer. When you see that an enemy will die from poison at the end of the turn, stop attacking it. Upgrade Bullet Time so that you can use draw cards before you use Bullet Time, which gives you more cards to play for free. When in multiplayer, always use Vulnerable, Weak, or cards like Rally that give teammates block quickly. Use it first so people can adjust their plays accordingly and maximize your damage. If you find yourself losing, it's likely due to you picking up too many cards. So stop picking up cards that don't maximize the relics you have or synergize with the powers and the rarer cards that you have in your deck. Skipping cards, and occasionally skipping boss cards, will make your deck stronger, not weaker. Also, if you find yourself losing early, make sure your first few picks are some block cards. In exhaust and discard builds, curses and status cards don't hurt you. So don't worry about them. Get the maximum benefit, take the curse. Worst case, you can remove that curse at the card trader for 75 gold. If you see relics to make the shop cheaper, it's good to buy it if it's like the first floor or beginning of the second floor. If you don't plan on hitting any more shops later on the third floor, it's probably better to just buy potions now. If you have full potion slots, then use one, so you can take more potions during the events and end of combat rewards. Use your potions at the start of elite and boss battles. Dexterity potion, strength potion, card upgrade, ritual, vulnerable, poison, thorns, focus. Lots of good potions that won't get any use if you don't throw them on turn 1. So others like weak potion, plating, intangible, buffer, those should be for the boss's big attacks. But make sure you're using those multi-turn benefit potions at the beginning of the battle. If you get the divination event, it's kind of like Battleship. Try not to reveal the curse card, and the giant package image is going to take 4 divinations, so don't bother if you paid for 3. Your max hand size is 10 cards, so keep that in mind when playing draw cards or card creation like Shivs. And in that regard, retaining cards like basic strikes and defends or high cost cards is going to hurt you. So Runic Pyramid and other retain options can ruin your deck, especially when bosses throw in status cards like Wound or ones that cost to remove from your hand, or curses that activate at the end of the turn. Retain is only viable on decks that generate a lot of energy, need specific card combos in the same turn, or discard and exhaust build decks. Cards that can draw more cards significantly improve a deck by allowing you to cycle to your most powerful cards more often and reshuffle your discard pile. Transforming curses just makes them into different curses, so probably a waste to do that. Getting cards like Feed early in a run will help out. Just block until you can use it for the final blow, but it's not worth it if it's on the second boss, because it rarely comes when you need it and ends up being used like a regular attack or clogs your deck as you let it recycle until it's usable. I'm saying if it's mid-run, it's mostly bait. You can have a maximum orb slots of 10, so don't get too many capacitor cards or you're just wasting it. I hope you enjoyed this video with build crafting ideas and how to go infinite and the different tips that I offered.